You should hear what keeps him up at night.
This is what keeps me up at night. I don't understand how my fellow Americans, I don't even understand how this election is close. And yes, I'm voting for you, but I would also vote for that wall over there.
Well, he's half right. We do need a wall. You know, to keep out gang members, fentanyl dealers, human traffickers, and Anna Navarro. What's funny, though, is that Stern actually thought that was a compliment. Stern has become such a wussified sycophant, he doesn't realize that telling Kamala that he'd vote for a wall is telling her that he knows she's as dumb as one.
Howard Stern was recently severely criticized. Once, his microphone ought to have melted. The monarch of controversy, currently serving as a Hollywood cocktail party court jester. Additionally, the individual who struck the match was Gutfeld, Greg. Only precise sarcasm, no shouting or antics. Stern was literally rendered speechless by how harsh it was. There was only awkward stillness and the sound of a legacy imploding in real time when Gutfeld called out Stern's transition from rebel to red carpet regular.
But that's how Stern can call snacking with celebs at a fancy restaurant exhausting. Exhausting. Like he finished the overnight shift in a coal mine. Or hearing Kat talk about her pets.
Fair.
But I get it, life is tough, especially when you've been cut off from the world for 2 years in a $20 million beach house. I mean, you have no idea how tiring it is walking all the way from the wine cellar to the tennis court and back.
Some media moments are forgotten, while others burst like a meteor into popular culture. Loud, flamboyant, and unforgettable, that was precisely what the Gutfeld versus Stern battle was. Two giants collided across generations, with just one of them remaining fire-fueled. In addition to making fun of Stein, Gutfeld held up a mirror, and the reflection wasn't attractive. Stein, previously a representation of unbridled defiance, he now appeared to be a subdued mascot for the same elite that he had once attacked.
It is incredibly brave to take this stance after you've made $300–400 million not being woke, right? Loving Donald Trump, exploiting the mentally ill, wearing blackface. Look at the crop of woke comments, whether it's Stern or Jimmy Kimmel, his BFF, Sarah Silverman, Joy Behar, Michael Ian Black. What do they all have in common? They wore blackface. And then they went woke. It's not a chicken or egg thing there. You know what order it came. So I call this BFR. It's blackface reparations. There's nothing in Stern's previous career that could withstand this modern witch hunt that he now embraces. So this is a form of restitution. Maybe he says, you know, if I'm woke too, the crocodile will eat me last. But they always do eat. But I get it. He flipped from populist to elitist because now he's with elitists.
Remember to hit the bell icon, like, and subscribe if you're enjoying this roast, because this is a cultural reckoning rather than merely commentary. By uttering the unsayable, Stern established an empire, being the rebellious voice that reprimanded political phonies and elites in the field of censors. Here's the catch, though: remain on the throne for too long, and in the end, the edged all Stern did more than simply settle in. He was converted.
We'll say this, Dagan. I thank God for Howard Stern because he does make me feel normal by comparison. Because I'm like the Fox recluse. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. But he makes me look like, you know, Pete Davidson on a...
Yeah, he's a germaphobe. Like, his wife rescues cats. That's her job, apparently, her thing. But you can get toxoplasmosis.
That's true.
Cryptosporidiosis.
AIDS! No, you can't, but...
You can't get... But you can get...
I mean, what are the chances I get that again?
Like a lot of diarrhea.
Howard Stern didn't just change. He went from being a chaos agent to a cocktail host, from making fun of Hollywood fakes to drinking Chardonnay with them, and when he noticed a weakness, he pounced. From bomb thrower to brand ambassador, Stein's performance on Gutfeld stage wasn't just unimpressive, it was unforgivable. He made fun of the transformation information like a magician who had performed the most dull trick in the world, turning fire into fluff.
On his radio show, Howard Stern defended wokeism, saying it's a compliment when someone calls him woke. Listen.
If woke means I can't get behind Trump, which is what I think it means, or that I support people who want to be transgender, or I'm for the vaccine, dude.
This wasn't a casual remark. Gutfeld took aim at the target. He presented Stern as a warning story rather than a folklore. The shop jock who once railed against uniformity now preaches it from a penthouse. The rebel who turned into the machine, Gutfeld, refrained from yelling. Like a cultural surgeon, he cut. Stern's transformation from long-haired radio bandit to well-groomed talk show host was examined by him. What Stern stated was more offensive than what Gutfeld said.
But Stern being holed up in his house that long, it explains a lot of things, like how you forget how other people live, especially in hard times like a pandemic. For the longest time, 2 years in fact, the same time Stern's been AWOL, I wondered where he went. Not physically, but mentally. I bet you did too. Remember his screeds about COVID? They were epic and angry, and not to mention wrong.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? Their freedom. I want mine.
Recall the Stern who fought for liberty and was obsessed with pushing boundaries. Gutfeld compared him to the contemporary version, muted by Hollywood's embrace, hooked on significance, and fixated on approval. The roast was more terrible because it was quiet, deliberate, and not wild. Stern was a fire starter. He then requested authorization to light a candle. Stern had nothing to say in response to Gutfeld's revelation of the truth. No insult, no rebuttal. And that quiet cried out louder than any shock jock could have ever mustered.
Even when I watch them on Saturday Night Live with the where they have Maya Rudolph playing you, I hate it. I don't want you being made fun of.
Oh my God.
There's too much at stake. I believe the entire future of this country right now, as America, land of the free, home of the brave, I think it's literally on the line.
So a guy who's supposed to be funny for a living now claims her candidacy is too important to joke about. This is a guy who once joked right after the Columbine massacre that the killers should have raped the students before killing them. Not that I like that Stern, but this pendulum swing from saying the most tasteless thing in the universe to putting your balls in a Tic Tac container. You gotta wonder what's going on here. It's striking that the king of the most misogynistic humor ever now turns into a breathless over a progressive, hopelessly shallow candidate.
This is the actual tale. Stern prospered in a time when defiance cost you, and the FCC finds outrage about blacklist Diamond felt the pressure. He grew up in the cancel culture era, when censorship is accompanied by a social justice t-shirt and a grin. He discovered how to use weapons without using foul language. Thus, this conflict involved two distinct worlds rather than just two media personalities. Furthermore, Gutfeld lamented what had been lost rather than making fun of Stern's background as he pulled back the curtain.
Happy Friday, America! Oh man, tonight is a special night. It's Feminine Friday, where all the panelists are women. Tonight we have Kennedy, Megan McDowell, and Tim, and Janine Garofalo. A long way for a joke. Okay, I hope you had a good week. I did, and no thanks to Howard Stern. True, the New York Post reported that Stern hit a chic restaurant in NYC with a crew of A-listers, including Jimmy Kimmel, Jennifer Aniston, John Hamm, Justin Theroux, Jason Bateman. I was not invited.
The irony Gutfeld gave the old Stern, the untamed one and the rebel, a lot of praise. The rebel had turned into a monk with muzzle and a manicured mainstream life, so he compared him to the sanitized version wearing brand hoodies and holding therapy sessions with a list. And after that photo went viral, the internet erupted, not because of indignation, but because of widespread recognition. Gutfeld didn't coin a new insult. Instead, he expressed what Stern supporters had been believing for years, that their hero had subtly switched sides and that the rebel crown didn't go with a halo.